For over a century, the Panama Canal has stood as a testament to human ingenuity and ambition, a marvel of engineering that continues to inspire awe in all who witness its scale and complexity. More than just a waterway, it has served as a vital artery for global trade, connecting continents and economies in ways that have shaped the modern world. By carving a 51-mile shortcut through the narrow Isthmus of Panama, the canal linked the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, transforming international shipping. Before its existence, ships had to brave the long, perilous journey around the tip of South America, a voyage that could add weeks, even months, to their travels. The canal's creation revolutionized maritime logistics, saving time, fuel, and countless resources. Its construction, completed by the United States in 1914, was a monumental feat, but it came at a tremendous human cost. Thousands of workers, many from the Caribbean and beyond, lost their lives to disease and dangerous working conditions. The project not only reshaped the region's geography, but also its society and economy. From the very beginning, the canal was recognized as a strategic asset for the United States. It enabled rapid movement of naval forces between oceans, strengthening military presence and boosting economic prosperity by facilitating faster trade routes. Today, the canal remains a linchpin of global commerce. Roughly 5 to 6% of all maritime trade, millions of tons of goods, pass through its locks each year, making it one of the busiest and most important shipping corridors on the planet. The canal's ingenious lock system acts as a massive water elevator, lifting and lowering ships as they cross the continental divide. Each transit relies on millions of gallons of fresh water from Gatun Lake, a critical resource that makes every passage possible. Yet, this reliance on fresh water also makes the canal vulnerable. In recent years, droughts and shifting weather patterns have exposed this weakness, sometimes forcing restrictions on ship traffic and raising concerns about the canal's long-term sustainability. After decades under U.S. control, a historic moment arrived in 1999 when Panama assumed full authority over the canal. This transfer marked a new era of sovereignty and national pride for the Panamanian people, who now oversee its operations and future. Since then, Panama has invested heavily in expanding the canal, adding new, larger locks to accommodate the world's biggest ships. This ambitious project has kept the canal relevant in an age of ever-growing global trade, but it has also brought new challenges, both technical and environmental. As the world changes, the canal's future will be shaped by the forces of nature, shifting trade patterns, and the complex dynamics of global politics. Its enduring legacy, however, remains secure, a symbol of what humanity can achieve, and a reminder of the challenges that lie ahead. In 2024, the Panama Canal faced its worst drought in recorded history, a crisis that would ripple across the globe and highlight the fragility of one of the world's most vital trade arteries. The drought was driven by a powerful El Niño, a climate phenomenon that brought scorching temperatures and drastically reduced rainfall to Central America, drying up crucial water sources. Gatun Lake, the canal's main reservoir, saw its water levels plunge to historic lows, threatening the very operations of the canal, and putting immense pressure on those who depend on its passage. In response, the Panama Canal Authority was forced to take drastic measures, slashing the number of daily ship transits and reducing vessel drafts to conserve what little water remained. These restrictions forced ships to carry lighter loads, reducing their cargo capacity, or to reroute entirely, seeking longer and more expensive alternatives. As a result, queues of ships stretched for weeks at both entrances of the canal, creating a massive bottleneck that left vessels idling and crews waiting anxiously for passage. The disruption sent shockwaves through global supply chains, raising shipping costs, delaying deliveries, and fueling inflation in markets far beyond Panama's borders. By year's end, only 11,240 vessels had transited the canal, a sharp decline from previous years, and a stark reminder of how dependent the world is on this narrow waterway. The crisis exposed the canal's vulnerability to climate change, as shifting weather patterns and rising temperatures threatened to make such droughts more frequent and severe. It also underscored the urgent need for water management upgrades, prompting engineers and policymakers to consider new solutions for securing the canal's future. Though rains finally returned in late 2024, bringing some relief to the parched region, the memory of the shutdown lingered, serving as a warning for what could come. The drought became a catalyst for Panama to rethink its canal strategy, sparking debates about long-term sustainability and national priorities. Soon, Panama's response would spark tensions with its biggest customer, the United States, setting the stage for a new chapter in the canal's storied history. In response to the drought, Panama announced steep toll hikes for canal transit starting in 2025, some as high as 200%. Shipping companies, already hit by delays, now face soaring costs. Panama defended the increases as necessary to fund a multi-billion-dollar reservoir system and secure the canal's water supply. Officials argued the canal was still a bargain compared to alternatives, and the revenue would fund critical upgrades. Critics, especially in the U.S., accused Panama of profiteering and shifting the canal from a global utility to a premium asset. The move set the stage for a diplomatic clash with the United States. Tensions were about to escalate. The toll hikes collided with a deeper U.S. concern, one that goes far beyond economics or shipping fees. At the heart of the issue lies a growing unease about the shifting balance of power in the Western Hemisphere and the increasing presence of a global rival, right at America's doorstep. China's growing influence in Panama has become impossible to ignore, with its flag now a common sight at key infrastructure sites. Since Panama recognized Beijing over Taiwan in 2017, Chinese investment has surged dramatically, transforming the country's ports, railways, and logistics hubs. Chinese companies now control or operate key port facilities at both entrances to the canal, giving Beijing a strategic foothold in this vital waterway. U.S. officials fear that, in a crisis or conflict, China could leverage its position to disrupt canal access for American ships, threatening the flow of goods and military assets. The possibility of China blocking or delaying U.S. vessels has become a real concern in Washington's strategic calculations. The Trump administration, returning to power in 2025, viewed the situation with alarm, seeing the toll hikes as indirectly benefiting China's economic and geopolitical ambitions. They argued that higher tolls would push more business toward Chinese-controlled ports and that U.S. money was ultimately fueling Chinese expansion in America's backyard. Critics in Congress and the media echoed these fears, warning that American interests were being undermined by unchecked Chinese investment. In response to mounting pressure, Panama announced an audit of the Chinese port operator, hoping to reassure both the U.S. and its own citizens. But Washington saw this as insufficient, believing that more robust oversight and action were needed to counter China's growing footprint. The combination of higher tolls, Chinese presence, and Panama's limited response convinced U.S. leaders that the status quo was no longer acceptable. Calls for stronger action grew louder, with some advocating for increased U.S. military and diplomatic engagement in Panama. The canal, once a symbol of American engineering and influence, had become a flashpoint in the broader U.S.-China rivalry, symbolizing the new era of great power competition. As tensions rose, the stage was set for confrontation, with the world watching to see who would shape the future of this critical global crossroads. President Trump, inaugurated in January 2025, quickly threatened to reclaim U.S. control of the canal if demands weren't met. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited Panama, declaring the toll hikes a violation of treaty principles. The administration considered sanctions or tariffs on canal traffic to pressure Panama. Critics warned these moves could backfire, raising prices for American consumers. The Trump doctrine signaled a new era of aggressive U.S. policy in Latin America, aimed at curbing Chinese influence. The canal dispute became the first major test of this approach. The U.S. was determined to defend its interests, no matter the fallout. The world watched as tensions mounted. Panama stood firm, rejecting U.S. threats as an attack on its sovereignty. President Mulino declared U.S. control over the canal was a thing of the past. The standoff risked other areas of cooperation, including migration management. Panama hinted it could withhold help on regional issues if U.S. pressure continued. Latin American nations rallied behind Panama, viewing U.S. threats as a return to old interventionist tactics. The backlash risked pushing more countries toward China. Panama's defiance showed the limits of U.S. power in a multipolar world. The canal dispute became a symbol of regional independence. The standoff centers on the 1977 Panama Canal treaties, which transferred control to Panama. The U.S. claims Panama's toll hikes violate treaty clauses requiring just and reasonable rates. Panama argues the increases are justified by market needs and infrastructure demands. The Neutrality Treaty gives the U.S. the right to defend the canal's operation, but bars interference in Panama's internal affairs. This legal gray area fuels the dispute: does U.S. intervention to lower tolls violate Panama's sovereignty? Legal experts are divided, with both sides citing treaty language to support their positions. The conflict is now as much about law as it is about power. The path forward remains uncertain. As of early 2026, the Panama Canal's future is uncertain. Water levels have recovered, but the political storm rages on. The US demands lower tolls and less Chinese influence. Panama stands firm on its sovereignty. Possible outcomes range from compromise to a trade war, with global supply chains at risk. The canal's fate reflects larger global shifts: US-China rivalry, climate change, and the rise of assertive middle powers. The world is watching to see who will blink first. The outcome will shape US-Latin America relations and global trade for years to come. The future of this vital waterway, and a piece of global stability, hangs in the balance.